what's going on, Los Angeles? Welcome to the Ram Skinny here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports, talking all things Los Angeles Rams with my man, Mr. Skinny T. Anderson. It's a beautiful day in the Southland. Summer is upon us. I'm not going to lie, Skinny. I'm already a little tired of the heat. But hey, we're getting 70s again this week. It'll come back down, so can't complain. But how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well. Yeah, I started my work day writing about Kike Hernandez crapping his pants. What a better way to start a day. You can't say everything I write is brilliant, but this is a chef's kiss, just beautiful piece of journalism. Kike Hernandez pooped his pants in the middle of a playoff game.
One could say maybe a Hershey's kiss instead of a chef's kiss. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, I guess so.
I love where again, I don't think either of us really call ourselves journalists, whatever media content creators. But I love how the news cycle, because this story, other people have hit it too, but it's from like a 2020 playoff game, which is great. But this is like today's news. Today's Dodgers are on an off day today. So this is the hot tea, because he was on like a podcast with Chris Hart sharing the story. And so it's like, we're all like, but it's just funny that it's like 5 years ago this happened.
Yeah, Kevin Hart, but yeah, it's it's Chris Hart. I don't know who that is.
I guess I was mixing Chris Rock and Kevin Hart. Yes, Kevin Hart.
Hi, both great comedians. Yeah,
both great. Both fantastic. But yeah, well done. Great piece of journalism. That's why you're a Pro Football Writers of America member, for stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know if that passed the test. I'll probably get in trouble for that one. I keep waiting for an email from them saying, kicking me out. It's like that old Woody Allen line. I wouldn't want to be a part of any club that would have me as a member.
It's a great line. It's a great line. I'm trying to get in. I'm still waiting for my card. I want to be a card carrying member one day. Maybe I'll be fortunate enough to be as cool as you, but it's hard to do. The Skinny T, ladies and gentlemen, one of the best in the business. So, but today, fun show for you. Sorry, a little bit of time off. I was actually in the Big Apple, old New York City, completing my first ever half marathon. Yes, I know. Thank you. Got it done.
Good pace. You had a good pace.
What would you say? Because you're a runner. Like, you would knock me out of the park. Like, what is a good, I'm not saying like athlete, like the guy who won the race finished like a minute 4, incredible in the half marathon. I'm just saying like a good, like, pace, or not even pace, just a finishing time to be proud of. Like, what would you say for half marathon?
Well, I saw yours was around 13 per mile, which I think that's really good. Like, I think, under 15 for, and your training regimen was not necessarily the most, yeah, you ran maybe 3 miles a few times a week. So, but yeah, I don't race because I'm actually a hyper competitive person, and it would take the like joy and fun out of running. So I kind of avoid it. I'm going to do a race at some point, but I do it, I do it for myself. So in terms of the time, as long as you're having a good time out there, I think.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, marathoners, take this as a lesson. The first person that competed in that sport died on his way to a marathon. So, just take that into consideration before you decide to do a marathon. It might be too much. Too much.
It's a lot. I mean, it definitely, my training, like you said, was, I had never done during this period of training more than 3.5 miles. So 13 is a pretty big jump in one sitting, and I got it done under 3 hours. That was my goal, under 3 hours. I was there just to have fun. It was in Brooklyn, beautiful Brooklyn, New York, with a good college buddy of mine. So the goal was just to finish under 3 and have some fun. And yeah, I was definitely sore afterwards. That's for sure.
Yeah. I realized that my upper body strength has started going away. So I've started to do push-ups and I'm sore from that.
That's good. You don't need a gym. You just, you run a mile, do 50 push-ups, run a mile, do 50 push-ups. Like, you'll be fit for life doing that.
Yeah. It's like a military workout.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think me and you, we're going to make it happen. We got to do the Napa half marathon, have some wine, rolling hills. The only thing I've heard about it is it's all hills. Cause I mean, you're in Sonoma County. It's all wine country. So it's not real flat. That's the only bummer.
Yeah, I could do a half though, especially with some wine afterwards.
Yeah,
I get down
nice
with that.
reward for you.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's why me and the family were gone to New York for 5 or so days doing that. So Ryan Skinny T here was holding down the fort on LAFB, but hadn't been on the mic. So we're back today, and Mike Clay, if I'm right, Mike Clay of ESPN dropped his projections for all 32 teams, probabilities. These are just fun probabilities and, projections that, we're sitting here in May. None of this is factual, but we can go over that and talk about his probabilities for the entire Rams 2025 season. That comes for player yards, touchdown totals, sack, tackles, plus win probability, over under, wins and losses, kind of the whole 9. He did it for all 32 teams. Obviously, we'll talk it with the Rams. And what do you want to start with, Skinny? I think you had a projection, I guess, that you found quite interesting here.
Well, I leading into it, I want to talk about Kyren Williams just a little bit because he was with the Los Angeles Times Gary Klein. Kind of gave a glimpse into their contract negotiations, and still no progress. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Kyren seems very optimistic that they're going to get something done. He said it's okay if it goes into the season. And it's kind of funny. You and I were talking about it. Making $1 million a year, living in the Los Angeles area, after you pay your agent, your taxes, drop maybe few grand a month on a house, maybe get yourself a nice car, maybe get your mom a car. You're not doing too much. So Kyren Williams has been in this underpaid boat for a long time, especially his consistency and his yardage in terms of the rest of the league. But I'm kind of leaning they're not re-signing this guy. I don't know. Have you changed your position at all on Kyren Williams and his next contract?
No, I think, correct me if I'm wrong. I hope you do, but I feel like I've kind of been in the court that I don't think they are going to re-sign him for quite some time. I've kind of felt like that just with the philosophy the Rams have used at the running back position. They draft a running back every draft for, what was it now, 8 drafts in a row is the record or something?
Something like that,
yeah. In the modern or the current times, they lead the league in drafting a running back 8 times in a row. And so they've just kind of just done that. And when the contract's up, it's on to the next, move up to the next guy that they drafted and kind of rinse and repeat. So I'm not saying that can't change. In my mind, I just don't think it will. And the fact that based on what Kyren said, that really, yeah, he's hopeful, but the contract negotiations haven't moved at all, which again, to me is just, it's that to me, it just means they're not talking. Like when people say like, yeah, we're hopeful, but they haven't progressed, it just means that to me, it's like, okay, then you're just not talking, because there's no way things don't progress if you're actually talking, unless you literally say like, I want this, and they say we'll give you this, and then you table it, and that's it. Like that's what that means, because there's no way any two people can have a conversation, even if he's not involved and it's just the agent, and you talk once a week every day, and it not progress if you're actually communicating, unless it's going backwards. So to me, that's co-work of just like, yeah, we haven't really talked about it.
Yeah, and it's it just keeps making me think about the Ernest Jones situation from last year,
Yeah.
where I thought that was just a lock, even more so than Williams. I thought that was a lock, but according to these projections, he's going to be another bell cow back year for Kyren Williams with 266 yards, over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, a couple of receiving yards. But more interestingly, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams both projected to go over 1,000 yards receiving, with Puka getting 99 receptions for 1,312 yards and 79 receptions for 180 yards for the new addition, Devontae Adams. So doing just a slight bit of research, this is the first time since 2019 that a McVay team has posted, will possibly post 2 1,000-yard receivers, which is kind of mind-blowing to think about.
Yeah.
And
never with Stafford.
And never with Stafford, going all the way back to 2019. Yeah, I mean, Cooper Kupp having almost 2,000 yards receiving. in the Super Bowl year. Obviously, Odell Beckham coming in late, Robert Woods going down early, but he wasn't getting targeted very much. So just an interesting wrinkle in the McVay offense, which is often seen as explosive and pass heavy and all of those words. But it in a way it's been kind of one-sided, I guess is the way I'd put it.
Yeah, well, we've talked about it a lot. Apparently, Mr. Mike Clay has not been listening to the Most Influential Rams podcast, and because if he did, he would know that history tells you that Matthew Stafford likes to key in on one receiver, and so having 2,000 receivers is very unlikely. So I'll just say this, Skinny. This would be great for the Rams if this happens. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Obviously, Devontae Adams is a great receiver. They're going to want to utilize that shiny new toy they just paid 20 plus million guaranteed or whatever. So they're going to want to get him involved. But I'm not betting money that maybe that's how we can do this opposite. We'll do the projections, then whether we agree or not disagree. So I would not bet money that the Rams have 2,000-yard receivers. I just, from what I've seen, whether you like, I'm not even saying it's bad or good, just from what I've seen of the way Stafford runs the offense, to me, it's much more likely that Puka Nacua ends up with 16 or 1,700 yards and Adams is in that like 700 or 800 yards. Because I think he'll just key in on one guy. And it has not shown that he's going to really spread the ball around equally to the top two guys. Now, he'll still spread it here and there, and we'll get the tight ends involved, which I know we'll get to in the projections here in a minute. But to me, if I'm a betting man, which I tend to be sometimes, I'm taking the under on Rams with 2 receivers with 1,000 yards.
Yeah, you got to think about what Devontae's role is going to be in this. And, this team last year had the second to worst offense, third down offense when passing the ball. Mm-hmm. It was actually much better when running the ball, but when passing the ball on third down in those passing situations, their EPA was 31st, which is not indicative. Again, looking at the McVay offense, you would not think that would be true. But time and time again, we saw that. And, we saw Tyler Higbee kind of come in and fix that a bit. And Devontae Adams is going to be kind of a security blanket on third downs, I think, because he doesn't have long speed necessarily, but he's able to get himself open off the line of scrimmage, kind of leaving those guys in the dust. So I think, 1,000 yards is going to have to be on him, not necessarily Stafford, to get the yak. And if I'm Eric Yarber, the Rams wide receivers coach, I'm telling him, catch the ball and go down, you 32-year-old. we don't have time for you to be on the sidelines at all. So yeah, I'm going to begrudgingly agree with you.
Well, to your point, maybe you'll change this. I'll just say this to your point. Since 2018, so including last year, yes, it was split between 2 teams. Adams has received over 1,000 yards every single year since 2018, except 2019 when he finished with 997. So, we'll kind of give him 1,000 on that, 3 yards shy. So, essentially, every year since 2018, so what is that? Terrible at math, 7 years or so, 1,000-yard receiver. So, this would be a break in the mold. So, I don't know if that changes your decision, though. I'm going to stick with it just because I think, obviously, wide receiver is very dependent. As I say all the time, it's the most dependent position in all of sports. You got to have the football in your hands to get yards.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the rest of the guys, I believe more in Devontae Adams than I do Tutu Atwell or Jordan Whittington. So, yes. I mean, and looking at the projections for Tyler Higbee, kind of not a career low in reception yards, but still pretty low. He's getting 49 receptions on 69 targets for 453 yards, which is kind of in line with his recent projections or his recent production. So, but I'm doing it. I'm gonna keep. They will have 2 1,000-yard receivers.
They will. So you're going against me.
Yep.
They will. Okay.
Just to make it interesting. Yeah. Let's go back. Let's go back and talk Kyren just for a sec. Is he getting over 1,000?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he will.
All right.
I mean, Here's what's kind of hard. And I'm going based on history again. So we've seen now Kyren in 2 straight seasons be the true bell cow back. He missed, was it 5 games 2 years ago? Or was it just the 4?
4 or 5, yeah, right around
4
there.
or 5 around there, and still finished, what, 3rd in rushing and, like, top 5 in carries. Last year, again, finished 3rd in rushing, was the bell cow guy, even after drafting Blake Corum, even after having, running backs the previous year. So this year, Blake Corum going into year 2, you just draft Jarquez Hunter, who they're excited about out of Auburn, and all that excitement is going to lead to 25 carries a game for Kyren Williams and no second contract.
They're just
And
going to
everyone's
use
going to be saying, why aren't you using Blake Corum and Jarquez Hunter?
again, going back to the McVay offense, you're not thinking of it as like this old school bell cow type of running attack. So I think I'm gonna go against you, just to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Because we'll get to the end of the year. I'm writing these down. We have the receipts. We'll write them down, and we'll reapproach this in January of 2026. But I think they're going to look for more playing time for Corum and get Jarquez Hunter involved as well. Get this to
sorry, finish.
I
keep cutting you
no,
off.
I was done.
So here's what I'll say. This will be my kind of maybe hot take. So I think Kyren still goes over 1,000 yards, but I think the running back room as a whole, so the 3 of them combined, I know Ronnie Rivers is there too technically, but it should be those 3 show. I think combined they go over 2K. So I think on Clay's projections, what does he have, like 1,700 combined or 1,800?
1,750, yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll go over 2. So I think you'll see Kyren get like 1,100, and then I would not be shocked at all to see Corum and Hunter hopefully get involved, and Hunter can show some of that explosiveness. And between the 2 of them, get 800-900 between the 2 of them, which will put them over 2K for the 3. I don't know if that's a hot take, but it's hotter than Clay.
That's so much hotter than Clay.
Hotter than Clay's take.
Well, another interesting projection is, Stafford. He's projecting that Stafford's going to miss 2 games and Garoppolo's going to be in there. That might be the last game of the year. That might not be the last game of the year. We don't know. Yeah. But pretty modest production for Stafford that he's projecting. 39-35 total passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 33 sacks, 52 rushing yards, which I think is right on point.
rushing Tubby too. Look at that.
Oh yeah, he's gonna punch one in eventually. Maybe a tush push.
Yes.
So what do you think? Let's go. Matthew Stafford over under 4,000 yards passing.
Oh man, that feels like an easy over based on his history and this kind of the offensive way it goes. But, at his age and kind of how much he did falter a bit last year, and again, I don't want anyone to think we're down on Stafford. We think he's a very good quarterback. Still, obviously, ecstatic that he's back with the team and we can put that drama behind us. But, most games in his career last year under 200 yards passing. It was evident that there was definitely a bit of a decline last year, whether you blame the offense or Stafford or the offensive line, whatever. Going into this season, until we see all the pieces working the way it should work within this offense, it's hard to say like, oh yeah, it's just automatically going to be better than it was last year. And I know everyone loves to do that in the offseason. Like, okay, we had some guys in the offseason, and I used to absolutely be the same. I remember, I think probably both of us, you add Allen Robinson to an already Super Bowl team. Great. This thing is going to go gangbusters, and it just did not work. So I love all the moves they made. I love where this team sits. I feel very high about where this team is going to go and where Stafford can take them. But until we see a few games, I can't sit here and say like, yeah, the offense is going to just be better just because than it was last year because you wrote down on paper and added some pieces. So for me right now in May, I'm going to go under 4,000 yards.
Man, I thought we were going to agree on this one. I'm going over. I'm going over.
Okay.
The only reason pretty much is because I wanted to confirm my prior prediction, which is this is a Super Bowl roster. This is a team that can push itself into the Super Bowl, and he's got to pass for more than 4,000 yards if that's going to be true. So just to get everything in line for myself, it has to be true. So I'm going to go over.
So because for me, I think that's why I gave them that 2,000-yard running back room. So that'll kind of supplement some of that lack of passing offense, but there'll be a dynamic running team. I hate putting you on the spot, but just thought about it. Like, I'm trying to think of some of these great offensive teams, what their total like offensive yards for a season were. When you think back to some, and not even like the greatest offense of all time, but even just last year, like the Eagles, I wonder what their total offensive output was in terms of yardage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a great read on that. I could look it up.
Yeah,
at our fingertips. Okay.
Just because I think when some people, I can't even think of anything top of my mind, but some people will be like, oh yeah, I think he's gonna throw for 5,500 yards, and they're like, oh yeah, he's gonna run for like 1,800. I'm like, so you're saying the team's gonna have like 8,000 total yards? Like sometimes like people just don't think that it all actually has to combine together to make sense, and not everything can just inflate to like the maximum, because it just doesn't happen in history. So I'll look it up while you're talking next, unless you're already on a crosswave with it.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of hunting it down right now.
Like if I think when Peyton Manning broke the record, which was what, 5,600 yards passing, something like that in a season, 5,500. I think they also rushed for around 15. I think they had like roughly over 7,000 yards of total offense, and that was like in a record-setting season.
Yeah.
So I think in like a normal, like you can still be, and I'm not saying this because you said it, just in general, to be a Super Bowl contending team, I think if you get like that 5,500 threshold, that's kind of what you look. Obviously, totally different factors. I mean, if you have like the 85 Chicago Bears defense, you can have like 2,000 yards of offense and be okay. So things obviously change with this defense, which I think we think is improving. You're going to need close to that 5,500 probably.
So in total yards, off passing and rushing, Baltimore led the way the last year with 7,200.
7,200.
Yep.
And they led the way. What did the Rams finish with?
Rams finished with 56.
56. Okay.
Detroit just under 7,000. And then passing yards was Cincinnati, oddly enough, with 4,600, 4,640.
Joey B.
Yeah. So, but I mean, there's only less than 10 teams that threw for over 4,000 yards last year. So that you could be on it, but I mean,
Skinny, how wild is that? Like, I feel like is quarterback play worse? Is defense play better? Because we're in year, oh man, my math, 5 of the 17 game schedule. Has it even been that long? 3 years of this 17 game schedule?
And 2021 was the first year.
21. Okay. And I feel like we've had less, not just 4,000, but for sure less 5,000 yards. That's like an anomaly now than we did when it was just a 16 game season. It seemed like during the Breeze, Brady, and Manning era, one of them always threw for 5,000 yards, it felt like. And that was in a less. Now we have one more additional game, and it's like we have less of the numbers. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, talk to Vic Fangio about it. It's been beat to death already, or everybody has been talking about it so much that they're pretty much over it. But, and quarterback play as well. Like, you go through that Brady, Manning, Breeze era, the amount of like Hall of Fame quarterback. I just named 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks right there. Aaron Rodgers is going to be
greatest Ever.
Yeah. Hall of Fame quarter. And I can't remember who has this theory, but basically he was saying that there's the perfect confluence of old school football meeting new school rules led to this really great era of quarterbacking, where now, guys aren't getting hit. They're not practicing as much. They're not practicing with offensive linemen. They're doing a lot of 7-on-7s coming up, in the youth stuff. College game is very different for quarterbacks. All of the rules, you brush the side of their helmet on the way, and it's a penalty. So it's like, I don't want to say that today's game is not as tough as it used to be. Probably isn't, but
yeah.
I don't want to be that old man yet, but yeah, it's interesting. We're in an interesting time. I think defense has taken kind of a, some of the defenses out there, the McDonald defense.
Yep.
Too many Mike Mix. Anyway, but we're getting off topic here.
Yeah, but no, it's a good point because like when you play a certain style of game, you're going to practice a certain style. So the fact that, like you're saying, the fact that the game has gotten a little softer, or it should benefit the quarterback, you're actually practicing like that, and it's almost like counterintuitive in terms of like when it was smash mouth, like you could get your head beat in, like you're practicing with that mentality, knowing that like any play could be your last. Like it still can be, obviously, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Like kind of counterproductive.
You're going to be a lot more willing to hang in the pocket if you don't think that you're going to get just leveled into the ground.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, the guys are still big and scary. I'm not hanging in the pocket at any amount of time. So,
No.
All right. So for me, under, we'll just go. So for me, under 4, you over 4, just quickly in that same topic, in the same vein, he has 25 touchdowns. You think over, under 25 touchdowns?
I think I'm good. I'm going to push on that one. I don't really have an opinion on it. It's a tough one.
Feels pretty right.
Yeah.
What did he throw last year? Let's see here. He hasn't had like a big monster, I feel like, touchdown season since that. What do you have? 41 touchdowns in the Super Bowl year?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was a phenomenal season he had. It was one of the most underrated seasons, and he like, did not get much accolades outside of, winning the Super Bowl. He had 20 touchdowns last year. 3,700 yards, 20 touchdowns last year. So, yeah, I think that feels pretty right. That projection feels pretty safe by Mike Clay. It's going pretty on brand with last season.
Yeah. It should be improved with healthier receivers. So,
yeah. So, we'll push. I'll go push also. What do you want to do next? Tight ends?
Yeah, I think Tyler Higbee's a little bit boring to talk about, just with his 453 yards there. But let's talk about our guy Turd Ferguson.
Yeah.
So he's 22 targets, 16 receptions for 161 yards. One touchdown. Do you think he goes over or under?
So clearly in these projections, just for tight ends in general, Clay was taking some of those target share and giving them to Devontae Adams, clearly, because Higbee's having a lesser year and Ferguson's a very remedial rookie season. I'm still going to go higher for Ferguson on that just because I don't trust Higbee's health as much as I want him to finish strong, have a great season, coming back. He looked strong finishing last year. We know how good he can be in this offense when healthy. I just can't trust that he's going to play 17 games. I can't trust that he's going to play 15 games. I mean, it's pretty likely he'll miss 3 to 5 games, unfortunately. So for that reason, as long as my guy Turd can pick up the offense and McVay and Stafford trust him, just by default, I think he's going to have more than 22 targets just because he fits the offense with what he does much better than both Colby Parkinson and Davis Allen, like we've said many times. So, yeah, I'm going to go the over. What was it, 171? Yeah, I'm going to go over.
161, yeah.
161.
I'm joining you with the over here as well. I think that what Mike Clay isn't seeing here is the increased usage of 12 personnel packages that were on the rise last season. One game last season, they used more 12 personnel packages than the entire 2023 season. So
that's crazy in one game.
Yeah. So I'm taking the over on that just for that simple fact alone that they're going to have more 2 tight ends on the field than in years past.
Love it. We're all right. Our first agreement. To the defense. You want to start front end or back end?
Let's start up front.
Let's start up front with the big boys, the big juicy boys. Kobie Turner, Poona Ford, Braden Fisk are your 3 big dogs. Obviously, Tyler Davis, Sean Johnson, and Ty Hamilton rounding that group out. I mean, I'll just list quickly, and we don't have to say a ton, but Turner, 65 tackles, 6 sacks. Poona Ford, 39 tackles, 3 sacks. And Braden Fisk, 41 tackles, 5 sacks. I just rounded. He has like decimals there, but I just rounded. Do you want to go player by player, or just in general? How you feel about those 3?
Well, I think that Kobie Turner number is pretty interesting. 6 sacks for him.
Yeah.
as an interior defensive lineman. I like Kobie Turner a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
The conductor.
I love that number. I love that number for him as well. I don't know if there's a bet to be made there. If there's controversy to be had with
I
Kobie
mean,
Turner there.
I'll just say I'm going over. I think he's gonna have a monster season.
Okay. I think Braden Fisk is going to have over 5 too.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Braden Fisk what did Fisk have? Did he have 6 last season? Man, I'm
Yeah.
just like rusty on all my statistics.
Yeah, I should have brushed up on these. I think the big, just skipping ahead a little bit, I think the big one is Jared Verse, only 8 sacks. Now that's, almost double what he did in his rookie season of 4.5. Over under Jared Verse, 8 sacks.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, and Braden Fisk had 8.5 last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's scandalous. Mike Clay, come on.
Yeah.
He's basically a pass rusher, Braden Fisk is.
Yeah. Gets frisky in the pocket.
Frisky Fisk.
And you give him a juicy 5.
Okay. So combined sacks, 8 plus 5 is 13. The duo over under 13 sacks.
Of Fisk and Verse or Fisk and Turner?
Fisk and Verse.
Over under over.
Yeah, me too.
Because I know, yeah, you said Verse is 8 sacks is what he gives him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Fisk is over 5. I think Fisk finishes right around where he did this year, 8.5. I think that's a year in, year out number for him based on what we saw. Turner, just to go backtrack a little bit, 6. I think 8. I like 8 for him. I like over for him as well. And then Verse at 8. I think he's going to go over. I think last year what we saw a lot was his tenacity and pass rush was almost like too overzealous, and so he got all these pressures, but just never like actually finished the sack. And I feel like we'll see a lot more of those finished this season. So, because he led the league in pressures, or he was way up there for sure in pressures. Maybe not led the league, but he was up there. And now he'll convert a lot more of those sacks. So I think I think Jared Verse can have a double-digit sack season.
I think he's got to. Just to earn that, I know he won the award, but like to prove that it's not just a flash in the pan, that he can get into the backfield, that he can pull the quarterback down as well. Clay's got probably the biggest projection for any rookie on the board. Josiah Stewart, 3.2 sacks.
Yeah.
Playing a good amount of snaps, 375, which would probably be about a third or so of the total snaps. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, I mean, the way he has it listed here, and we'll see how the Rams really release their depth chart, but I mean, he basically has it Verse and Young as your 2 edge, with Stewart the next guy. I mean, he's their next sub package out for one of those 2 guys, which I think we kind of saw when they drafted him, obviously.
Yeah.
With the loss of Michael Hoyt and whatnot. But I think there's other players that maybe others have slotted in to some of those positions. But yeah, the way Clay's seen it is the young rookie is going to be the next guy off the bench, basically, whenever Young or Verse sub out, or in any NASCAR packages they use. So, 3 sacks. I mean, obviously Verse and Young both had more than that in their respective rookie years, but they weren't competing with themselves, which, he'll have to. So I think that's a pretty good number.
I'm gonna go under. It seems a bit hot for me.
He's a bit high.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go over just to be different.
All right.
I'll say he's projected 3.2. I'll go 3.5. 3.5.
3.5 sacks. Love it.
Splits one with Fisk.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I think Fisk and Turner are going to eat this year, but I mean, that's just me.
No,
this is probably the most scandalous. This is the most scandalous. We talked about this at length last episode, I think, right?
Yeah. And people gave us crap. Clearly, we're not the only ones that see what the Rams are seeing.
Position battles?
Yeah.
People are giving us crap about?
Well, people were just saying that there's no way he's going to play that much. We don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, okay. All right. So, the leading snap getter at inside linebacker, Troy Reeder's playing 911 snacks.
I mean, the running backs are going to eat their snacks if he's playing that many snaps. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, okay. So he's number 1. Then the Landman, Nate Landman, with 536 snaps played. Omar Spates coming in at just under 200, 193. Chris Paul Jr. not getting on the field. Just a couple of snaps of games, it looks like, for Mr. Chris Paul. Just 21 snaps for him.
It's nothing.
Barring injury, I can't even bet on this one. I
mean, I think that the bet is I don't even care about the tackles or what do they have.
Yeah, no.
Reader with
playing time.
I mean, they have Rito with 118 tackles for Troy Reader in this projection. I mean, Mike Clay's a smart guy, but I don't know if he watched. So let's just do this. He has him at 911 snaps. Let's just go over under that. Troy Reader, in reality.
I can't. I mean, I said it in our position battles episode. I said he's probably going to do it just because he's the only one with any experience. I mean, Landman's played a handful, a decent amount. Spates, played quite a bit. People are super hyped on Chris Paul and Spates as well as just kind of the answer. And I think it's just kind of a wing and a prayer, really, in a way, just because you're expecting a lot from those guys and they're limited. I mean, I like Spates as much as the next guy. I love UDFAs, guys that can like really, just show what they have in all these training camps and earn a spot. And it's amazing, but he's limited in certain ways. So I don't even know. I can't. I would, if this was put, if I had good odds on this, I don't even think I would put any money on it just because it feels dirty.
Well, because I think to your point, this is how I feel too. Like logically, based on what we've seen, and again, we never try to pretend like we're smarter than McVay and the Rams brass, but I think all fans can agree, like logically, if Troy Reader is your leading snap getter at linebacker, that's not a good thing for this defense. Go ahead.
Guess how many solo tackles Troy Reader has in his 6-year career?
In his 6-year career?
Yeah.
I'm going to sound terrible, so you just tell me.
180.
180.
310 combined tackles in all of his career. His highest was 2021, 91 tackles.
Wow.
And
Clay doesn't say combined or total, but he puts him with 118 tackles.
Yeah.
No, blasphemy.
This feels dirty to me. I don't like it.
No. So what I was saying, so logically and based on just what should probably happen, I would say huge under. Like, no way does Troy Reader play is the leading starter for your linebacker room. But just based on them bringing him back, him being in the offense, knowing Chris Shula, then there's part of me is like, well, they clearly do like him and feel confident enough in him to put him out in those situations, so maybe it will. I'm going to say under just because I think Spates started enough last year. Like, I'm surprised that Clay has Spates as the third man, considering he was the starter over Troy Reader for instances. And then obviously they brought Landman in to potentially be that starter. And, Chris Paul, I think a lot of people love, but he was a late round pick. He's going to have to earn his way onto the field. So we'll see if that happens earlier, later, or even in a year or two. So, but I'll still go under 900 snaps. There's just no way.
Yeah. I'm there with you, but I would not be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised
out there. Yeah. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
What about from the secondary? We've got nothing statistically that's kind of super impressive. The Cam Curls, the Cam Kinchins combine for 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
Nothing particularly tasty. Quentin Lake and Cam Curl, it looks like he's chalking them up as playing 100% of snaps with 1,019 snaps played.
Yep.
Which is
correct. Yeah.
Interesting. Akhello Witherspoon only playing 375 snaps with Kobie. Oh, he still has some Kobie Durant playing just about 700 snaps. And that could just be a health related thing there. Just betting that Akhello is probably not going to play 17 games.
Yeah.
Safe bet there.
He also has 7 corners listed and only 3 safeties. With
Quentin Lake is kind of your swing
Yeah,
in
for
that.
sure. I know these are subjective, CB versus VS.
Yeah.
But
How about Emmanuel Forbes getting only 32 snaps?
yeah, that's what I was
Well,
kind of
riding that
alluding to.
bench.
That's what I was kind of alluding to,
Oh,
like keeping Josh Wallace and Emmanuel Forbes on there versus potentially, some of the other safety talent that they have within that room, especially guys that could come back, plus some of the, UDFAs they added this year that I think we were fairly high on. When you look at like the Malik Dixon Williams or Nate Valcassel, if those guys can crack that instead of kind of keeping that Wallace or Forbes. But I don't know. Forbes, I'm just so like, I don't know, because first round pick, but they brought him. We didn't see him obviously, really, but I mean,
yeah,
this dude obviously has some talent. 16th overall pick.
I guess.
Yeah, just pray for good weather, not a windstorm.
This is this is a tough one to kind of suss out, just because could I see? I mean, he's been a stalwart. No one's call him great or bad, but he's been hanging in there, doing
Yeah.
everything they've been asking him to do.
Yep.
And he was a pretty late round draft pick too, third or fourth round, as I recall.
Even later, I think. Yeah.
Oh, was that right? That was that weird year where they started in the third round.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Seems like, yeah. Well, we can jump. I don't know if we have to make a call on that one. We can
We'll
jump
just do.
over. Oh,
Let's
okay.
just do this. Let's just call this one Jalen McCullough. He puts interception 0.6. Dude finished with 4 last year as a UDFA rookie. I'm going over 0.6. The dude's going to have at least one pick.
I'm going over just because I remember those interceptions, and it just seems like the ball just kind of just fell right into his hand.
Oh, it was all luck.
3 of the 4 times. I feel like
in hockey, we call that puck luck. He got a lot of puck luck. But hey, 4 picks is 4 picks. Stat sheet don't care how you get them.
That's right. All right, I'll put you down for over on that one.
Yeah, I mean it's an easy call. Just got to have one game with some puck luck.
Yeah, I mean, if his luck continues, you're going to be right.
There we go. So, all right. So you just want to go to projected wins?
Yeah, well, he's got all the weekly score projections, which we don't have to go over. Were there any that like jumped out to you? There's a couple that kind of are interesting to me. A little tasty nuggets.
Go ahead. You give me those nuggets. Give me those.
Well, I predicted Detroit to get boat raced out of SoFi Stadium, and this is one of the least probable games for the Rams to win, according to Mike Clay, with just a 33% chance of winning. So that one jumps off, and I can't say that I disagree with that take, but just in opposition to me. We'll find out. These are fighting words for me and Clay. Arizona, Rams going to Arizona, just a 54%. That's nearly a coin flip.
Yeah.
For the Arizona Cardinals. I'm starting to get talked into that team a bit. People are getting me all hyped up, and I just have to remind myself there's always one of these teams. The Denver Broncos were one of those teams not that long ago, where everybody was hyping them up. I mean, that was probably just last year they did pretty well. But every year there's a team that's just really hyped. I think Washington's a team that's super hyped. Kind of won the off season. Year before, it was the Texans were really hyped coming off of that first year, and just coming back down to. I mean, they still made the playoffs, but everybody was like, "Oh, they're making the Super Bowl." But interesting belief in the Arizona Cardinals there.
Yeah. Again, they have not proven anything against the Rams specifically. They do have a good squad, like a good core. If Jonathan Gannon ends up being a good coach, which he seems to be, at least has those guys playing well, good culture builder. And if Kyler Murray can just play a full season and be the starting quarterback and just kind of do what he does, I mean, then it is a good team. I mean, they went to the playoffs not that long ago, right? The Rams played him in the first round in their Super Bowl season. They boat raced him. OBJ had a nice touchdown pass, but they were in the playoffs. And so, with the new coach now and some nice pieces, that is a solid team. But against the Rams, they have not proven anything. The only thing I'll add, only 3 games does he have a losing probability for the Rams. You mentioned the Detroit game at 33%. Also, week 6 at Baltimore, their lowest probability to win, 29%. And then probably not too surprising to many, the week 3 game in Philly, a 37%. So all the rest are at least 51 and above. Only one game above 67%. Again, I don't know what people read into these probabilities and how this outcome is even determined. But only the New Orleans game is given an 80%, which is all but a guaranteed victory.
Yeah, and really good probabilities against the hated rival San Francisco 49ers, a 67% win probability in week 5 at home, and then a 59% probability at Levi Stadium up there. Just glancing at the score predictions, no games over 30 points.
Yeah,
either allowed or scored. So that's got a level set for me because I'm always projecting them to score over 30 points.
Yeah,
I got to remember that. So how about this one? One over under one game over 30 points scored.
Oh, over.
I got to go over. Yeah.
Over.
That's a dumb one.
It's an easy bet. Easy bet.
So even with all these high probabilities, Mike Clay projected win totals 9.6. We're both on the record going through the schedule as 11 wins. So are we sticking to?
Oh yeah,
sticking to it. Yeah,
staying firm, baby. Well over 9. Well over 9. 11 and 6 feels like the floor.
Yeah, well, according to this, they could go, 14 and 3, which would be the best record under the McVay era. In the McVay, no, since the Stafford era.
Yeah. His first season, ironically, they went 13 and 3, right?
Is that right?
I think so. His very first year.
Wow.
Well, I don't think he's ever gone 14 and 2, and now it would be 14 and 3 or 15 and 2. I don't think that's ever happened. So, it'd be great. 14 and 3. I've seen a lot of people out there on the old Twitter fear put 14 and 3 as their record prediction.
I mean, that's the obvious one. They're gonna drop one of these games. They always have one or two brain farts. A lot of things happen.
Sometimes it's weird. Like, I know no fan wants to see their team lose, but for me, it almost feels better to go. Like, obviously, winning your division, like if it puts that as a detriment, you don't want that. But if you can win your division and be like 13 and 4 or 12 and 5, that almost you learn a lot about yourselves when you lose, and those mishaps that happen in the games you lose, you just come up a little bit short. You kind of learn how to overcome that. Whereas if you always squeak through these wins and kind of have that puck luck that goes your way and you finish like 15 and 2 or 16 and 1 or 14 and 3, but didn't feel like that, like ceremonious, like domination every single game. Like, obviously, if you're just boat racing teams to that, then great, do that. But like the Chiefs, in my opinion, have been the one team in like the last real decade that their record hasn't made sense, and yet they still make the Super Bowl. So you give them credit, but usually teams that kind of have that luck and that end of game, like those one game possessions that are all go in their favor, it comes back to bite you in the butt in like the playoffs. Almost every time. The Chiefs have been the one team that have still been able to do it. Now it bit them in the butt this last Super Bowl when they got destroyed. But overall, sometimes you want some of those losses in the regular season because you learn a little bit yourselves, right? And you learn about those blind spots a little bit.
Well, they talk a lot about it in the NBA about how teams have to go through a playoff loss.
Mm-hmm.
The young team has to go through a playoff loss before they can kind of push through. And losses really teach you how to hang in there in the playoffs. And this is an odd team because it's both young and old at the same time at different positions. And yeah, I mean, I think Verse is a great example of a guy that had to go through, so a tough, a couple of tough games in the playoffs, not getting those sacks and whatnot to kind of set himself up to be the winner for the next season.
Yeah, exactly. So can't wait, man. He's going to be here before we know it. I got the update today from, I know this is pro football, not college, but they starts around the same time. The USC account sent out, it's 100 days till USC's first game, like only 100 days, which means, the Rams game's only a week or two later.
Yeah.
Football's going to be back for it. Training camp starts mid-July.
Can't come soon enough.
Yeah, we're getting there, baby. I know. May and June are rough. It's only baseball, especially if your team in the NBA and NHL is already out, which ours are. It's only baseball, which is rough. You still watching any hockey or basketball?
I tune in occasionally. I keep my eye on it. Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for the Oilers to win it all.
Yeah. I like that.
Um,
Even though they beat our Kings.
yeah, yeah. But I want it for those guys. They seem like nice fellas. And
Nice
then
fellas. Old Canadians.
then I'm rooting for Minnesota. I'm rooting for the Timberwolves to
There
and
you go.
both lost game one, so I'm behind the 8 ball already.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't watched any basketball like at all. And then hockey, I've watched I know it just started, but I've watched the Eastern Conference now. So I've watched like the Hurricanes in Florida. I can't watch Dallas after that series beating my Avalanche. I just cannot. I just hate the Stars so
Well,
much.
they got your guy Mikko Rantanen now.
It's painful, bro.
Yeah.
Pain too soon still. I thought like usually with sports and then we're gonna wrap the show up here. So if anyone that wants to just not listen to us banter, thanks for watching. But usually with any sports, like I'm passionate fan with all my teams, but after a few days, I'm like, okay, season's over. It was a good season. Like this is the first time I can remember. Well, okay, I'll say second time. And I'll tell you the first time. The second time I can remember where like a playoff loss has me stung. Like we're like approaching 3 weeks later now. Like a
Wow. Yeah.
full series more has passed. We're in the next round and it still stings just because I feel like, when you just like, we should have not only could have won, but we should have won. And then
Yeah.
the reason why we lost was a guy that was on our team for a decade and we traded away. And he's the reason why we went home. Oh,
Yeah. That's
it's so painful.
that's tough. What was the first?
The first was 2012. So the year prior, it was Manning's first year in Denver with the Broncos. So the next year they went to the Super Bowl. But his first year, they won. They went like 13-3. In that first playoff game, they played Baltimore, and they were winning. Baltimore ended up tying it on some fluky Hail Mary from Joe Flacco to Jacoby Ford, where Raheem Morris, not the same Raheem Morris that's coaching the Falcons, but Raheem Morris from UCLA was the safety, tried to undercut the Hail Mary and totally misjudged it and jumped too early and hit Jacoby Ford wide open, tie the game. They won in overtime. That was a brutal one. That one hurt real bad.
Yeah.
It
I
was
mean,
like,
with my Twins, like if they make it to the playoffs, I'm like, that's a win. Like there's
yeah,
no they should have won anything. I was just like, okay, I'm good there.
yeah,
So like, and I've been a fan since I was, probably 4 years old.
yeah.
So like I take the wins and the losses in stride with that one. I think the toughest one for me was the NBA Finals with Warriors and Cavaliers. This maybe the second iteration of that.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost 3 straight. Draymond Green got ejected.
Shocking.
I almost used a different word, but he tapped a guy in the man region.
Yeah,
Got kicked out, and LeBron just chasing him down, chasing Iguodala down, blocking that shot, killed me. But it didn't last very long because like not that long after I got Kevin Durant when
yeah.
got two in a row. So yeah, but
I know.
I've after games I've put hats and timeouts
Mm-hmm.
for weeks where like I'm not wearing that hat again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and as fans, we all have expectations, and you always expect your team to win everything, but realistically, you can be like, yeah, we're like it would be a fluke if we did. Like last year, Broncos making the playoffs was a fluke. So I had like when they played the Bills in the first round, like that was the least upset I've ever been with a playoff loss. Like you say with the Twins, I was like, just happy to be here. Like, cool, we lost by like 20, and I was still like, oh, good game. They tried. It was a good effort. The Rams game was actually a little painful one against the Eagles because that one was like had it, you go up, you give up the Barkley touchdown. Um, so that one definitely stung for sure. The Rams, the Lakers this year, I think fans probably thought it stung, but for me, my expectations were like, I don't think the Lakers should be the 3 seed. Like they went on the kind of the
Yeah, no.
Cinderella run to end the season. They got exposed for not having a center, which we all knew they didn't have. Like we all knew they needed a center desperately, and it got exposed in the playoffs, and now they can go back and fix that. So to me, that was more of they should have done better than a 4-1 loss, but I wasn't expecting them to like win the whole thing.
Yeah, the 2018 Super Bowl was a weird one because it felt like being strangled slowly by like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
weak child. but like but like because it seemed like at any point they could go off, right? Because that
Yeah.
offense was like high powered, more high
Yeah.
powered than it is now, I would say. And I thought, wow, it's just a couple of points. At any point, this could just flip around, and just slowly but surely, Belichick just squeezed the life out of McVay and the rest of us.
Oh,
And at the end of it, it was like, what just happened?
yeah. It's like all dads can relate when you're a dad and you're asleep and your kid's just like hitting you on the head to wake you up. But it'd be like if you just were like paralyzed, like you could not move, and that hitting from your kid just lasted for 60
Yeah,
minutes, or in Super Bowl time, like 4 hours and 50 minutes, and just nothing could put you out of your misery. That was the 2018 Super Bowl.
good way to put it.
Yeah. So, well, okay. Anything else to add on this projections episode?
No.
Great.
Try
Well,
to do better next time.
yeah, try to do better next time. As always, thank you all for hanging out with us. This is the Ram Skinny on the LAFB network. If you have not already, please hit that like and subscribe button on the Rams LAFB YouTube channel. Rams LAFB is all you got to do to find us. Hit that subscribe. If you prefer audio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, just search Rams Skinny, or you can find all of our Rams coverage, podcast, video, editorial, social on LAFBnetwork.com. That's Skinny T. I'm Ryan Dowd. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your week. We'll all talk to you again very soon.